What's up, it's cinemashogun here, and we have been so focused on the details in this case about the three Kansas City Chiefs fans that were found frozen in their friend's backyard. We have been so focused on the details, and we've been all over the place because Jordan's lawyer has been changing the story so much. So I feel kinda as if we've been so all over the place because of these details changing that we haven't had time to sit back and think and ask questions like, what about the neighbors? Have the neighbors seen anything? Do they know anything? Have they noticed anything suspicious about Jordan? Because I made the point in the first video I made about this case. This is not a situation where three guys froze on a mountain. This is not three guys freezing as they're hiking through the wilderness. These are three perfectly healthy, not even old dudes, like young men who supposedly froze in their friend's backyard. Not in a log cabin in the middle of nowhere, no, in a residential neighborhood in the suburbs, right? So maybe there was a chance that someone saw something, someone knew something. But because this case took so long to really get out there, because it took so long for the news to spread about this case, by the time this case was getting talked about, Jordan was already packing up to move. So we never really got to hear from the neighbors until now. That is now changing. Some of the local news outlets, they've gone out to the neighborhood. They've been knocking on doors, and the neighbors are ready to talk. The neighbors are ready to talk about the situation. One neighbor is claiming that he has some sort of video. I'm recording this video the night before you watch it, so maybe by the time you watch this video, the video will be out there. But there's a neighbor claiming to have some type of video from the night. All of the neighbors say they hardly know Jordan. They're really weirded out about the situation. They're all talking about how, the back of his house, he has like this sliding glass door. There's no way he couldn't have seen it. And personally, I'm just happy that we're finally getting to hear from people nearby, because usually, we would be hearing from the neighbors in the first couple of days of this case. Here we are, like a month, we're almost to February, right? So this happened on the 9th. We're 20 days out, right? And we're just now hearing from the neighbors. But from what is being said, on the night that the bodies were found, one neighbor saw law enforcement. They saw police officers handcuff Jordan and put him up against the fence. And then they put him in the police car. And they said there was all types of commotion up and down the street. But, I'm going to go ahead and roll this news clip really quickly. Before I do, though, I need a huge favor from all of you all. I need you to hit the thumbs up, and I need you to hit that subscribe button. But without further ado, let's go ahead and roll this clip, and then I'll be right back with more thoughts.
Alex Capriello joins me live now from Kansas City. So you've been learning a lot, not only just today, but just in the last few minutes, something about the night of the discovery. Somebody witnessed something. What have you found out?
Yeah, what's interesting is we've been here all day, but when you do a lot of door knocking during the middle of the day, you don't get a lot of answered doors. People are at work. And so when we were out here setting up our live shot, we actually just had a neighbor approach us who lives right across from the house where this all went down, which is, of course, right here behind me. And he really filled in some gaps about what that night looked like when the investigators first got here. First and foremost, he said just by happenstance, he happened to be looking out the window at the time that Clayton McGeeney's fiancée actually came here to snoop around for herself. Remember, she was the one who actually discovered the bodies in the first place and called 911. So from this neighbor's firsthand eyewitness report, he says he watched her actually leave the backyard, this gate right here behind me, call 911, and he said shortly after that, this whole street was flooded with cops. Meanwhile, he's filming the whole thing from his cell phone from his front window, looking out, just wondering what the heck could be happening right here in his neighborhood, right across from his street. We're working on getting that video to you so that way you can show your viewers. But let me just describe it. He tells me that actually that person at the center of all this speculation, Jordan Willis, was actually handcuffed and detained right here against this brick wall of the house while police were asking questions. He said he filmed as actual investigators were searching through this entire house using flashlights to actually comb through each and every room, trying to find any other clues or evidence. Eventually, he said Willis was let go out of that handcuffs. He was taken to a car, presumably questioned more. But this was a big mystery that entire night. Nobody knew what was going on, and it wasn't until the news report started filling in that next day that people started getting some answers. Of course, to your point, still more questions than we have actual answers, but at least we have a better idea of what that actual scene looked like that night.
I know that you're getting that video, and that as soon as you get it, we'll try and get it on the air. But quickly, you were able to get an interview about the view out of Jordan Willis's kitchen, and there's a big sliding glass door. What'd you learn?
Yeah, exactly. I think a lot of people here are a little skeptical about the story that we're hearing, in specific, Jordan Willis's story, the fact that he slept through 48 hours without actually having any sort of inclination that his friends were dead outside. And so most people that I'm here in the neighborhood that I'm speaking to tell me that they just don't know Jordan. He seems to be a bit of a hermit. He doesn't come out. He doesn't really talk to neighbors. He has 2 dogs, we know, but he doesn't really do much dog walking. And so a lot of people are a little weirded out by this whole story. Here's what one neighbor told me.
Willis did say that he didn't see his friends out, but he has a sliding glass door going right into his backyard, and it's in his kitchen, so like you have to see it. I don't know, I just feel like there's no way you didn't see your friends dead outside.
So even if he didn't contribute to their deaths, it's a little weird. He may not be telling the whole truth.
Right, I mean, people were calling him, people were knocking on the door, and he wasn't answering to anybody, so I just feel like that's odd that you wouldn't say anything.
I think it's just a matter of time. You know, I trust a lot of the people who are like involved in investigating the case, and you know, I'm just waiting for any answers as a community member. I think that's what we're all waiting for.
And we do know now that Jordan Willis no longer lives here. This was a rental property that he lived in, but these neighbors tell me that they saw a U-Haul truck within about a week and then packing it all up and moving out. It's empty now. There is one light that stays up on the upper floor, but the neighbor here tells me that it's been on every single day since this incident happened.
Break in to our coverage, Alex, when you get that video of Jordan Willis being cuffed that night, if you would. I know that's a lot of logistics, but if you can, certainly let us know. We're on
now, take this tidbit of information with a grain of salt, because we haven't heard anything from law enforcement. But what was revealed earlier tonight, apparently one of the fathers, they claimed that at least one of the bodies was found frozen on a lawn chair in the backyard. Now, like I said, this is not official information from law enforcement. This is not, you know, anything that's in any official report. This is just information that's floating around out there. But, you know, we've been wondering, why did law enforcement rule out foul play so quickly? Is there a possibility that the positioning of these bodies plays a role in why they ruled out foul play so quickly? Because, you know, from the get-go, law enforcement downplayed this situation, which is why this story didn't get much media coverage. It wasn't until people on YouTube started talking about it that the news, you know, took interest in the story, and now the story has kind of blown up. But as I was mentioning earlier, this is something that you think you would have seen in the first days. You know, the neighbors should have been talked to on January 10th. But here we are, January 29th, and this is the first that we hear from the neighbors. And as you hear, you know, none of them believe Jordan's story. No one believes Jordan's story, because as I laid out in a prior video, if you haven't watched it, go back and check out my prior videos. Jordan has kind of made it almost impossible to believe him at this point. And in order to believe Jordan, you first have to not believe Jordan's original telling of events. But this is good. This is good news. This is exciting to me because it gives this case a new breath of air, if you will, because we need people to keep talking about this case, because if not, the story goes away and who knows what happens. You know, this family fought for weeks on end to get us to where we're at now, to where, you know, people are starting to talk about it. And seeing that the neighbors are comfortable talking about it now, I guarantee you we're going to hear more. I can almost guarantee you that we are going to hear more. This is probably the tip of the iceberg. Once the neighbors get to talking, more neighbors get to talking. The more comfortable they feel in front of a camera, the more details they're going to start throwing out. And, you know, as they said, we got that video that we have to wait and see as well. But for now, let me know your thoughts about this down in the comments below. While you're down there, if you're feeling generous, you can donate to the channel via Cash App. I'll have my Cash App in the pinned comment. You could also donate via Super Thanks, or for free, you could help the channel by hitting the like button, subscribing, ringing that notification bell, all of that good stuff. But with that being said, I'll talk to you all soon in the next one.